I remember I was at my dentist, and he said, "Where are you going next?" And I said, "China." And he said, "Oh, be careful. You know, they're very rough people and very, you know." And I was nervous, and I went there, and
You know, it's interesting because China, I think, for an American, is the furthest possible cultural gap.
it is.
And so
yeah.
we do have this feeling of, oh, China, wow, that's just different. And so you went for the first time. What did you find?
Well, I think we're afraid of China, and they
Why?
have.
Why are people afraid of China?
Well, they've gone from zero. You know, I was there in the early days. There in Beijing, it was all bicycles. There were no cars. Now they have 500,000 new cars a year or something, and it's unbelievable. You can't see a car older than a year old. And
I think a few things. One, we in the West really must commend China for the magnificent turnaround that they've made in such a short span of time. And to your point, I started visiting China. I've been many times as well. And the first time I was there was not too long ago. It was about 8 years ago. I think it was 2009, 2008, 2009. And we were taking the ferry boat from Hong Kong across to Zhuhai, which is just across the pond. And the port was, you know, it was a little shack, and you know, it was set up. 5 years later, the whole thing was electronic. There was a KFC in there. The logistics behind this port entry point blew anything that I've seen in North America away. And that was within 5 years in one tiny port. So they really are making strides. How do we in the West work with China, though? Because this is the thing, just to put this in perspective for our viewers who may not be as familiar with China. China has almost 4 times the population of the USA.
Exactly.
So 320 million in the US versus almost 1.4 in China. The other thing, and you mentioned this in the book, and I had never thought of this rationally, the United States borders 2 countries, Canada to the north and Mexico to the south. China borders 14.
yeah,
China has managed, maybe except for this, you know, little rifts with Tibet, has managed to stay peaceful with 14 nations on its borders. We have to be able to learn from this example.
well, they've been. You know, this idea of the 4 steps comes from. We took it from the Diamond Cutter Sutra, which is the oldest book in the world, oldest printed book. And the Chinese copy is the oldest printed book in the world. So they've been feeding off these ideas for, you know, thousands of years.